Hello everyone and welcome back to class. My name is Omalara, popularly known as Xerox, and if you're a new subscriber, I am grateful and I am happy that you're joining us. And if you're an existing subscriber, you are also welcome. So without wasting much of our time today, I will be going straight to the topic of today. And yes, we'll be treating our first poem, which is Song of the Women of My Land. Song of the Women of My Land by Farouk Sesay. Okay, as you all know, that Song of the Women of My Land is an African poem, and it's one of the prescribed poems in this particular syllabus, 2023 syllabus. So I have decided that I would try and treat some of the poems, or if time permits, all of the poems before the next West African examination. So let's dive straight into analysis of Song of the Women of My Land. I know that by now you already learned the poem by heart. Yes or yes? Okay. So now, if you are yet to learn the poem by heart, there's still ample opportunity for you to do so. Okay. And like I said, if you feel that the poem is too lengthy for you to learn by heart, you can just put down the significant things. All right. So for this poem, there are three things that we are going to be looking out for. We are going to be looking out for what time has done to the song of these women. All right. Time and its implications on the songs of the women of Farouk's land. And as you all know, that even though the poet is a Sierra Leonean, it applies to all African countries. Please get that clear. All right. That although the poet is a Sierra Leonean, please, it applies to all African countries. So you are going to generalize it, except they restrict you or limit you to Sierra Leone, the happenings in Sierra Leone. That is the only time that you refer to only Sierra Leone there. Aside that, since it's an African poem, you are going to generalize it when analyzing the poem. So, like I said we are going to be looking at three things. We are going to be looking at the implication of time on the women, and we are going to be looking at songs and what songs represent. Okay, and then thirdly, we are going to be looking at how the poet persona had tried, all right, how the poet persona tries to salvage the remnants, okay, so that the new generations, the incoming generations will have something to learn about the women of our land. All right. Okay, so let's go straight into the analysis. Like a sculptor chipping away bits of wood, time chisel away bits of their memory. It strips away lyrics of the song of the women of my land, leaving only a fading tune echoing the song. Now, the first thing that we need to understand is that this poem, Song of the Women of My Land, examine the suffering, the oppressions, the pains that women had to go through and how that they have persevered. And I'm sure that you have an idea of who a sculptor is. We are focusing on how time has been likened to a sculptor here, and how time has erased little by little the memories, the legacies of the women of my land. Okay, and the women, obviously, they've been victimized, they've been subjected to servitude. It strips away lyrics of the song of the women of my land. Now, let's pay attention to these lyrics. I'm sure that you all know what lyrics is, and you know that lyrics actually gives meaning to a song. So the song is more or less useless. It does not pass any message across if it is devoid of lyrics. Now, what the women of my land, according to the persona, what the women of my land had turned to lyrics is everything about their life. Everything about their life, their suffering, their pains, their limitations, to keep it in the lyrics of the songs. So they have songs for almost everything that they go through. Time, just like a sculptor, had what has stripped away the lyrics. So the essence of these women, whilst they were alive, had been what? Had been destroyed. Now, what is even available now is what? A fading tune echoing the song. The essence that would have made the tune to be melodious and to pass across or to be able to impact lives has been taken away. And even the tune itself is already fading. And this is likened to how that, in Nigeria, we will say that the heroes, the labor of our heroes past shall not be in vain. All right, and I put it to you that these women, if not for the persona that decided to that decided to salvage little of what could still be salvaged, their essence, their existence would have been what? Would have been a forgotten issue. They sang in the fallen field. Of course, fallen field um, shows field that has been abandoned. So this category of women, they were subjected to what? Abandonment. They were abandoned, and they were neglected, they were forgotten, and they were unhappy. All right, but there on the fallen field, they still gave meaning to their lives. They had reasons to keep going, to keep showing up every day. All right, thinking and hoping that someday their legacies will live after them. Now we're going to look at the songs, these lyrics, the lyrics that they put in this song that is already what? Fading, that is already reduced to what? Mere tune. Now they sang about their lives, songs of how they plow the terrain of their mindscape, of from memories of lyrics lost in the vast void of time. Now, the suffering, the legacies, and everything that these women lived for, and everything, the hope that they were not going to be forgotten, that kept them moving. Everything is what? Everything is now what? Lost in the vast void of time. Now, time can be likened to modernity, modernization, civilization. Now, the women persevered because they thought that their legacies will remain, will live after them. They thought that there's going to be a generation that will arise, that will come out of them, this generation that they are breeding, that will live after them, that would continue to uphold the legacies, all right, that will tell their children and their children's children how that they persevered and how that they were treated unjustly. But time, civilization, had done more harm than good. In those days, when a song beheld their lives, when servitude, you can see that I decided to pay attention to this servitude, meaning that the women actually or practically lived the whole of their lives in slavery. Who they were slaves to, we are not informed, all right? But at that time of their lives, the men did not reckon the women, the female folks. They didn't reckon, them. All right. So they were slaves, and they lived a life that can be likened to that of slavery. When servitude cuffed the ankles of the soul and dereliction decapitated the epic of their lives. Thinking that this will live after them, they decided to keep their histories. They decided to start to tell their stories in songs. They decided to start keeping the bits and pieces of their lives in songs. So now let's quickly look at what or the type of the aspect of their history that they decide to keep in songs. So with a song, they sponged off their anguish to behold their collective pain, to celebrate their gains, to give lyrics to the tune of their lives, to cheat the tyranny of time. Now let's even pay attention to this tyranny of time. Okay, so it's with it's this song that helps them to want to wake up the next day, because their time was not favorable at all, at all, and commune with the yet unborn, to give meaning to an epoch lost in antiquity. That's this period of their life was irrelevant because they were not reckoned with. So that period of their life was not relevant to people around them. And so they had to create meaning for their lives through the songs. And they were happy keeping those histories, talking about their pains, what made them cry, if anything happened, and let's say someone gives birth, they keep that too in the songs. They talk about how time had cheated them, how time had been unfavorable to them. They keep all of this in their songs. All right? Yet, let's look at what time has done this time around. Again, yet, time strips the lyrics. Now, the lyrics meaning the meaning, the essence, the reason they are alive, the reason they persevered. Time strips the lyrics and scars the tune. So even the tune is not is not is not what it should be. Now imagine this famous rhyme. All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful, the Lord God made them all. Now the lyrics, all things bright and beautiful. All right, the lyrics actually give meaning to this song. All right. Now imagine that there is no lyrics, and then you are left with la 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 la. You're just going to enjoy the beats, the rhythm, but the message is lost already. All right. And so even the la 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 is not even as smooth as it should be. And that is what these women had faced. Yet time strips the lyrics and scars the tune, leaving a dying song dead. And that is what this tyrant called time had done to these women. So whilst they were alive, they were unjustly treated. And even after they were long gone, they were still yet to be reckoned with. So like the women who died long ago, leaving the song to tell the story of their lives, a detail runs the fallen field. Now, remember I said that the fallen field, that is where they have been forgotten, where they have been relegated, where they have been rejected, where they are stayed to wallow in their pain and in their misery, the fallen field, far away from where others were. The tune, the song that is supposed to move across, that's supposed to spread across to everybody, still remains in that fallen field, just like the women remained there. So today, the tune roams the fallen fields, like the souls looking for lyrics, anything that would tell me how that these women spent their lives, what these women had to go through. Anything to tell the tale of servitude. I need the stories. Some of us don't even have grandpas to tell us, stories. Gone are the days where we sit at our grandpa's feet. And then he tells us stories, he tells us proverbs, tells us myths. Well, it's no more. This dispensation, this time, this is what time, civilization, modernity, this is what time had done. And it's still roaming the fallen fields. The tune, because the lyrics is long gone, the meaning, the essence of the life is long gone. And so even the tune that is remaining, for people, coming generations to say, okay, there were sets of women, there was a generation of women that was treated like this, and they need to be remembered. To tell the tale of servitude of the women of my land, who plowed their soil and soul for a song. For a song, they plowed their soil and soul. For a song, for them not to be forgotten, for them to have history. The song of the women of my land, left in the memory of the wind. Isn't that sad? It's quite sad. But there's a thing of hope. And for that, we are grateful. All right? And now, here's where the hope comes in. Now, feeding the verses of poets, it echoes in fields, ringing in rhythms and melodies. The tune is happy that at least someone somewhere is trying to salvage, is trying to take care of the relics of the remaining of this history. In verses far from the theatre of toil, where they left a song that now roams the land, stripped of lyrics like a scorned ghost. The tuning the tenor of my verse is all that remains of the song of the women of my land, who labored and died. Let's take a pause there. And of all of the things that these women lived for, everything, time, Mr. Time, deem it fit to let it be forgotten. But the poets have decided to salvage the tune. And we see the poet personal saying that the tuning the tenor of his verse is all that remains. So even though I'm trying to keep this, I'm trying to keep these histories, I'm trying to keep these memories alive, I still don't have, the raw materials. But this list that I have, let me just keep it here. The tuning the tenor of my verse is all that remains of the song of the women of my land, who labored and died, living a dying song. Now, should we say that their existence was in vain? Because the only reason they keep living each day was so that generations, Gen Z, Gen D, Gen A's, will not forget. One labored and died, living a dying song. They labored, they died, and their song, their existence, their history died with them. The death of their lives. It's sad. So this brings us to the end of that poem. So we're quickly going to run through the poetic devices. I've already taught you all how to answer the questions, what to look out for. So here, there is a predominant poetic device here. There's a predominant device here, which is imagery. Looking at the poem from the first line to its imagery runs across the lines of the poem, and we can see different types of imageries here. We can see imagery of hope, imagery of music. We have imagery of time. I'm sure you already know. Imagery of time, imagery of death. We can see quite a lot of imagery in this poem. So it's just possible that
They might just ask the question on imagery. Who knows? I'm just saying though. All right, so of course the diction is everyday, and the reason why the person, the poet, say I decide to use everyday language, everyday vocabularies is so that it can cut across, so we know the injustice at time that modernity or civilization had caused or is causing, the injustice of this so-called, so much so that we now consider things, our histories, our past, we now consider it as barbaric, as primitive, you know. So we do not even want to acclimatize ourselves with those things anymore, with the histories, with culture, with our traditions.
So I hope that you have been able to learn, okay, or you have been able to understand better this poem. And I hope that by now you can analyze and you can attempt any question on this poem. Till we meet again in our next class, stay safe and take care of yourself. Bye.